Welcome to Healthy Grandpa Secrets and Him, where growing older means growing stronger. Let's make these years your healthiest yet.
They say wisdom comes with age, but sometimes wisdom comes with pain, especially when it arrives too late to change what's already been done. This is the powerful and emotional story of Dr. Harold Mason, a highly respected internal medicine physician who served his community for over 3 decades, treating thousands of patients, most of them seniors. Dr. Mason didn't just see his job as diagnosing symptoms and prescribing pills. He saw it as a calling. He believed in listening, in compassion, in doing whatever it took to ease the suffering of the elderly. But after 30 years of dedicated service, he now says he carries one deep regret, one that haunts him more with each passing year. And it's a regret every senior watching this must hear, because it may just save your life or the life of someone you love. In his early years of practice, Dr. Mason followed what every medical student was taught: treat the symptoms, reduce the suffering, and lean on the trusted tools of modern medicine, chief among them, prescription drugs. At the time, this was not controversial. It was the gold standard. If a patient was anxious, couldn't sleep, or had panic attacks, there was a class of medications considered both effective and safe. These were benzodiazepines, Xanax, Valium, Ativan, Klonopin. The names rolled off the tongue like candy. Drug reps praised them. The textbooks supported them. Patients felt better fast. And so, Dr. Mason wrote prescriptions. Hundreds of them, sometimes thousands. For decades, he believed he was helping. He believed he was doing the right thing. But it wasn't until years later, long after retirement, long after the stethoscope had been packed away, that a quiet storm began to brew in his conscience. He attended a continuing education seminar, one of those events for retired physicians trying to stay current, if only out of curiosity. A neurologist specializing in geriatrics took the stage. Her voice was calm, steady, but her words hit like thunder. She presented research that showed long-term use of benzodiazepines in seniors was linked to cognitive decline, memory loss, increased risk of falls, and even early death. The kicker? Most of the effects were subtle, creeping in slowly, often mistaken for normal aging. Dr. Mason sat there, jaw clenched, palms sweating. Every case flashed through his mind like a slideshow. Mrs. Langley, 74, grieving the loss of her husband. He gave her Xanax. She smiled again for a while. Then, months later, she started losing her keys. Then forgetting appointments. Then came the hip fracture from a fall in her bathroom. Mr. Cho, 68, who battled PTSD from the war. Dr. Mason had given him Valium. It seemed to calm his nerves. But by age 73, he couldn't follow conversations. He wandered. He forgot names. It was diagnosed as early-onset Alzheimer's. But now, in hindsight, was it really? The question tortured him. And then came the hardest part, knowing he wasn't alone. That thousands of doctors across the country had followed the same guidelines, believed the same research, and now quietly carried the same burden. The drug companies never told them about the long-term risks. And the FDA didn't issue strong warnings for seniors until decades later. Dr. Mason started researching obsessively. He pored over study after study, finding consistent patterns. A 2022 meta-analysis in JAMA Psychiatry revealed that seniors over 65 using benzodiazepines had a nearly 50% higher risk of developing dementia. Another study published in The Lancet showed a 70% increase in fall-related hospitalizations among elderly patients on these medications. Worse, the withdrawal from these drugs, if not managed carefully, could be brutal, even deadly. He began speaking to other retired colleagues. Some admitted they too had second thoughts. One confessed that his own mother was now in a nursing home after years of Ativan use. Others said nothing, their silence speaking volumes. Dr. Mason couldn't stay quiet. He started writing. His article, published anonymously at first, titled What I regret most after 30 years of practice caught fire online. Doctors shared it. Nurses printed it out and hung it in break rooms. Patients sent it to their children. Soon, Dr. Mason was being asked to speak. He appeared on health podcasts, local news shows, and even at national conferences on aging. His message was direct but heartfelt. If I could go back, I would never prescribe benzodiazepines to seniors long-term. Not unless there was truly no alternative. The risks are just too great. But this isn't just about one doctor's guilt. It's about a system that normalized a dangerous habit. And it's about you because if you're over 60 or care for someone who is, you need to know the signs and the alternatives. First, let's talk about what these drugs are. Benzodiazepines are sedatives. They work on the brain's GABA receptors to calm nerve activity. They're often used for anxiety, insomnia, panic attacks, and even muscle spasms. Common names include Xanax, Ativan, Klonopin, Valium, and Restoral. They work fast, often within an hour. That's why people love them. But in seniors, the liver and kidneys don't metabolize drugs as efficiently. The medication lingers longer, builds up, causes brain fog, slowed reflexes, emotional numbness. The longer the use, the worse the effects. You may think you're just getting older, but sometimes it's the medication, not the aging. Here's what to look for. Are you feeling groggier during the day? Do you have more trouble concentrating? Have you had a recent fall? Are you forgetting things you used to remember easily? Have friends or family noticed you're not as sharp? These may not be normal signs of aging. They may be medication side effects. Dr. Mason now works with senior centers, offering medication reviews for free. He says it's shocking how many older adults are still on these drugs, some for 10, 20, even 30 years because no one ever told them to stop. And many doctors, overwhelmed or underinformed, just keep renewing the prescription. So what should you do? First, do not stop suddenly. Benzodiazepines must be tapered slowly under a doctor's supervision. Quitting cold turkey can trigger seizures, hallucinations, or dangerous spikes in blood pressure. Second, talk to a geriatric pharmacist or doctor. Ask for a full medication review. Don't just look at the new drugs. Look at the ones you've been on for years. Third, explore safer options. For anxiety, consider cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness programs, or low-dose SSRIs, which are often better tolerated in older adults. For sleep, try light therapy, melatonin in small doses, magnesium, or even herbal teas like chamomile and valerian root. Lifestyle changes like consistent sleep schedules, cutting caffeine after 2 p.m., daily sunlight exposure, and nighttime stretching can make a bigger difference than you think. And don't forget the power of community. Many seniors report reduced anxiety just by joining a walking group, attending a class, or spending time with grandchildren. Isolation is a huge driver of anxiety and insomnia, and medication is not the only answer. Dr. Mason now lives in a small cottage outside Cleveland. He volunteers twice a week at a senior wellness center. He speaks with kindness, but also urgency. He's not bitter. He's not angry. He just wishes someone had told him sooner. I spent my life trying to help people, he says. But sometimes, helping means knowing when to do less, when to pause, when to question what we've always done. His final message to seniors is this: your health is your responsibility. Don't hand it over completely to anyone, not even someone with a white coat and a stethoscope. Ask questions. Be curious. Take your time. If you're watching this and thinking about your own prescriptions or your parents, don't panic. Just start the conversation. Print out a list. Sit down with your doctor. Ask, is this still necessary? What are the long-term effects? Are there safer options? You deserve answers. You deserve clarity. You deserve health that improves with age, not declines because of a pill. Dr. Mason's story is not about blame. It's about awakening. And his greatest hope is that his late discovery can be your early warning. This has been Healthy Grandpa's Secrets. If this video helped you, please share it with someone you love. Let's protect our elders. Let's spread the truth, and let's age wisely together.